Hello, sewing people of the internet. Today I want to show you my latest and so far greatest bag. This is a messenger bag that I made for myself. First time I've made a bag for me for a while now. It's the best thing I've made so far, and I hope I can keep saying that with every new thing that I make, but this was pretty good. So I'm going to show you the features of it. I didn't film any of the making of this other than some of the previous videos, like the owl's webbing on the sides that I just did. And there might be another thing or two out there, but this video is just a review of this bag. By the way, stick around to the end of the video if you care to. I'm going to try a new thing I've been thinking about adding as a feature. I'm going to respond to some comments. I get some comments, some good, some bad, and I reply to them, and I tend to never really hear any more about it. And I think a lot of people, like myself, when I watch other YouTube videos, I don't really read the comments that much. And some of the comments might be helpful to other viewers, so I'm going to occasionally pick a comment and respond to it in a video in the hopes that other people might benefit from it, or at least it might be funny. So here's the bag, before I forget, because I've been asked before, I almost exclusively use nylon thread, and the vast majority of the thread I use is size V69. There are a few different sizing standards. V69 is equivalent to somewhat like Tex something, I don't even remember. So there are charts available on the internet you can find, but I use V69 most of the time, and then sometimes I use V92, which is the next size up. For this project, I used, the only thread I used in the whole project is a V92 polyester thread. The site that I bought the thread from made some claims about polyester thread that sounded like they'd be beneficial. Apparently it has superior resistance to sun damage and doesn't retain as much water as nylon and doesn't stretch as much as nylon. I've never had a problem with any of those things with nylon thread, but it sounded like it was an improvement. I'm not 100% sure I like this thread. It has a tendency to separate into the individual strands when I sew with it. I don't know if that's something with my machine or me or what. I've had this thread for several years, and I made my toiletry bag with it several years ago, and I've been using that regularly, and it's had no issues. It seems like once the thread is sewn into the project, it's fine, but it just, as you're sewing, you can see the strands start to separate. So I don't know if I recommend this particular polyester thread or not. I'll show you a close-up of the label, but that's what I used. The only sewing machine I used for this project was my Sailrite LS1, and I used a size 21 needle, maybe? I don't know. I'm terrible about changing needles or choosing the right. If it's working, then I leave it in, or if I grab one out of a drawer, I don't necessarily pay that much attention to the size, but I used a needle. The exterior of the bag is made out of primarily 1000 denier Cordura. The center OD green section here is 500 denier, and the reason it is the way it is I didn't have enough of this Desert Tan 1000 denier Cordura left to make this project all Desert Tan on the outside. And it's what Bob Ross might call a happy little accident. I love the way this looks with the green section in the middle. It would be nice if it was also 1000 denier, but I don't think anybody is going to know. Hello. I don't think anybody would know if I didn't mention it. So maybe I shouldn't have said anything. On each end of the bag, I have some PALS webbing. I have 2 columns and 3 rows of PALS webbing to mount accessory pouches and stuff with. I haven't made anything for this side. I'll probably do another bottle holder for my Nalgene that I usually carry with me. And on this side, I have a new version of my super tactical Kydex coffee holster in awesome money camo Kydex. The main strap for this bag is OD green seatbelt webbing. For the support strap, I used the same mil-spec webbing that I used for the Pals webbing on the side. For the front closure straps, I used 1-inch OD green seatbelt webbing, and the closure is via these Cobra buckles. These things are way overkill for this application. For one thing, they're climbing rated, load-bearing buckles that have a rating of, I think, 1,000 pounds or more. And secondly, I spent $44 just for these 2 buckles. So, like I said, way overkill for this. But that's part of the fun of making your own stuff, is you can splurge on stupid extra stuff. So, but I do like them because they open very easily, which is nice, and they close with this very satisfying. So, they're cool. I like them, but again, way overkill for the job. For the bottom of the bag, I once again went to what is becoming my favorite bag bottom material, recycled bicycle inner tubes. I like using this because you're always putting the bottom of the bag on the floor, and who knows what might be on the floor. I just used this for my trip to Atlanta as my carry-on bag, and you know, it was on the floor of airports and stuff, and so at least this is easily cleaned and it's tough. If I put it down on something sharp, it's unlikely to be hurt by it. By the way, inner tube is kind of fun to play with. I made this little pouch a while back just to carry miscellaneous stuff in. If you like inner tube bags and don't want to make your own, or don't have a machine that can, because frankly doing even something like this on a standard domestic machine would be very challenging. Walking foot really helps. But anyway, if you want something like this, you might check out Moab Bag Company. They didn't pay me to advertise for them, but we're friends on Instagram, and I really like what they do out there, and Moab is one of my favorite places. So, but anyway, check them out, Moab Bag Company. I'll put a link in the description below. For this bag, I decided to try sewing the liner of the bag to the exterior of the bag, right sides together, and then turn it out so that I wouldn't have to do any binding. And that actually worked out really well. I think it changed the dimensions of the bag a little bit. I can't swear to that, but it feels like it's a teeny bit smaller to me. But not having to do any binding is awesome. A couple things I don't like about the bag that I'll probably change in the next iteration whenever I get around to it. I think the flap is a little bit too long. If you happen to be making a bag from the pattern that I put in a video a long time ago, other bags I've made have not had this problem. So again, I don't know if it's because I did it inside out and flipped it. But I think the flap could be a few inches shorter even. And I guess it depends on how full you tend to keep your bag and how long you want your flap to be. But purely aesthetically, I think if it were, you know, a couple inches shorter so it didn't hang down onto the floor when it's, or the table, wherever it's sitting, that would be kind of cool. I would definitely go back, if I could, and attach the closure straps probably into this seam here, just to make it look a little bit neater. Kind of, you know, I did this almost as an afterthought with the big box X and everything folded over. It's just kind of bulky. You know, it's fine, but I think I could clean that up a little bit. Another thing I don't love is how easily I can reach into the bag around the flap on the sides. I actually sewed a little triangle here on each side to suck in the side a little bit because it was worse before. And it's fine. I mean, in practice it works great. Nothing has fallen out of it, and I've carried it very haphazardly and stuff. But I think that could improve a little bit. One of the features I like the most on the exterior of the bag is this zippered pocket on the front. This was really handy at the Blade show because I kept some business cards in here to hand out to people to try to promote the channel a little bit. And this is a really handy place to have them. And when it's closed up, you know, it's not intended to be hidden or anything like that, but it's subtle. I also added a couple of patches while I was at the show, by the way. Let's take a look inside the bag. So, as I've done with other bags, did loop Velcro on the front, hook Velcro on the flap, so that when the flap is closed or just laid over, it's at least somewhat secure. This bag sits in the passenger seat of my car on the way to work, and so if I wanted to reach in and grab something and just close it, I don't have to mess with the buckles so much, so that's nice. I'm not going to go through everything that I carry in my bag, that's not the point of this video, but basically I have a bunch of stuff that I bring to work with me. By the way, with some of my extra money Kydex, I made a new sheath for my scissors that I use at work. So in the front section of the bag, I made this organizer panel. I've showed this in other videos, but for keeping notepads and a multi-tool, and I have a pen. Oh, and I also have an Apple pen. I really hope somebody got that. On the back and also on the sides, I have some loop Velcro so I can attach things like a removable laptop sleeve to the bag should I ever need to. There's also a large zipper compartment in the front for, you know, other notepads or whatever. I don't know why I feel like I need to have so many notepads. I never write anything down. I have an iPhone. Oh yeah, the interior liner is the same 500 denier Cordura as the strip in the front. Normally I use brighter colors than this. This bag started as just a way to use up some of this leftover material that I had from other projects, but I actually really like the way this looks, although I am still more fond of a lighter color interior just for visibility's sake. And now for a new feature. Jason responds to comments. So I get a lot of comments, and I get a lot of comments for me, but the vast majority of the comments are usually favorable and complimentary, which is awesome, and I appreciate that. Inevitably, there are some criticisms, and if you think there's something that needs improvement, please don't hesitate to tell me. I can't improve on things if I don't know that they need improvement. That said, every now and then some asshat makes a stupid comment, and usually they disappear after I reply to them. But perhaps this might be a way to address some issues that have been raised, either constructively or not. So, here we go. In this inaugural edition of Jason Responds to Comments, I'm not going to actually respond to a particular comment because there's an overwhelming number of comments on this particular subject. A while back I did a collaborative video with Alexander Dyer. Many of you watching this are now subscribers because of that video. It's far and away the best performing video I've had to date and maybe ever will have. But one of the... Hi. Hello. How are you? Can I have a kiss? Thank you. So, for that video, I actually produced the music bed for that video myself, and a lot of people hate it. And I think partly people just hate the music, which fine, you know, taste is what it is, and some people are going to like stuff that other people don't like. And a lot of people made the very constructive comment that it was hard to hear me speaking over the music. I reviewed that video during editing at least 10 times, and I had a couple of colleagues preview it before I posted it, and nobody noticed anything. I suspect there might be a difference between devices. Maybe on mobile devices the music comes through louder or something, I don't know. But the point of this is not to make excuses. You know, I made music that I thought fit the project, and some people didn't like it, that's fine. But the point I want to address in this commentary is that a lot of the comments were that I should remove the music, and I can't do that, unfortunately. Once the video has gone live, then I can't really do any significant edits to it, like removing or changing the levels of the background music. I could, I guess, remove the video and repost it, but in that particular example, it was a collaborative video. I had links to Alexander's videos, and it just wasn't really conceivable to take it down and replace it. I wish I could. I wish there was a way that I could take the video out and replace it with a new version and not change the count of especially that video, because it's got a lot of views. But I can't. So I say this to say, if you are the kind of person who watches a video and finds something that you would like to critique, Just know that as a content creator, it's not that easy for us to make changes to things that have already gone up on YouTube. I sincerely appreciate that people pointed out that the music was distracting or made it hard to hear me, and I'll use that information as I go forward to make sure that I avoid that as much as possible in the future. But that said, if you don't like something that somebody does, you don't have to be a dick about it. So that's it for this video. I have a couple of big projects coming up. If you're not already a subscriber, I hope you'll subscribe so you can see them. Here's a teaser. If you are a subscriber, thank you so much for being part of this. If you have questions or comments, post them in the comments section below. Thank you for watching. By the way, Bobbin is always in the videos, but you guys don't often get to see Coquina.